everyone, my name is Elizabeth, this is Frizzy Lizzie Stitches, and this is Flosstube number 48. Hello! So today is July the 28th, 2023, and it's been about 2.5 weeks, I think, since my last video. And I've been doing all sorts of stuff this month. July has really been kind of busy. So I figured I would just kind of give a brief, I say brief, I don't really know if I can be brief, but just a little bit of life update, what I've been up to kind of thing, like I normally do. And then we'll get into the stitching. I actually have like 5 whips, a new start, and a SAF, a start and finish. So yeah, we got lots of fun stuff to talk about today, and I'm excited. I actually ironed all of my projects, and I made a little design board so I can more easily hold up my projects, and hopefully it's just foam board with batting glued to it, so I'm hoping that it will help the colors show up better. But yeah, so it's actually kind of gloomy outside, but the lighting is still pretty decent, so we're just gonna roll with it. But first things first, I got my nails done for Barbie. Bobby and I saw Barbie and Oppenheimer last weekend, and I loved Barbie so much. I really want to go back to the movies to see it again. So if you have not gone to see Barbie, definitely make an effort to, because it's well worth it. So I also have been wearing like every pink piece of clothing that I own, and I'm pretty sure this is the last clean pink shirt that I have, so now it's time to do laundry so I can wear all the pink stuff again. But anyway, so yeah, that was fun. That was last weekend. And then I actually just got back from a work trip, and it was super short. I literally flew to Florida on Monday and then flew back to Ohio on Tuesday. We had like a little customer visit situation, and it was really cool. And the coworkers that I traveled with were really nice, so it was a good trip. But I also am very tired because I guess last week I just went to work like normal, but it was very chaos, not work itself, but just my life, because I never unpacked my suitcase from when I went to Idaho the week prior. So my Idaho rafting trip was super fun. I had rafted before, but I had never went on like a full rafting excursion. So it was like 4 days of rafting and 3 nights of camping along the Salmon River, which is in Idaho, and eventually ends up meeting up with the Snake River, which is kind of at the border between Idaho and Oregon. So that's kind of where I was hanging out a couple weeks ago, and it was really fun. It was like a food and wine adventure with this outfitter shop called the Minum Store. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, or if you just want to have a fun rafting trip to go on, I would highly recommend looking into that. I think it was well worth it. And it was super fun because the raft guides literally did all the hard work for us. They set up our tents, they cooked us food, there was lots of wine. It was great. So I definitely, while I was on the trip, struggled a little bit, simply because just getting used to being outside 24/7 and how to use the bathroom and get ready for bed and find some sort of routine or whatever was kind of challenging mentally. But looking back, it was a great trip, and I would definitely do it again. So yeah, but I think other than that, I actually did do a decent amount of stitching. I actually worked on 5 projects, and then I started something new, and then I started and finished a small that ended up being my travel stitching. So yeah, I think we can just go ahead and get right into the stitching. I don't want to ramble too much today. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I think the first thing that I technically worked on since my last video would have been my Love Boat sampler. I think I really can't remember what I talked about in my last, I think my last video was a whip parade, and I think I talked about this, but I was having some issues with my blue floss because I did do my own color conversion for this chart. So I basically only played around with the blue. So it's not gonna look like I have a lot of progress, but I at least figured out the blue flosses. So anyway, this is what Love Boat sampler looks like. And then I'm not going to bother showing you what it looked like last time because it basically looks the same. It's just I changed the blues on the birds. So, oh, and I can use my new design board that I made. Yeah. Okay, so here is my Love Boat sampler. That's more accurate as far as color goes. But basically you can see there, I can't actually see what I'm showing you. Okay, so the two birds right there, obviously they're different. I was playing with a few different kinds of blue, and I ended up, let's see, so the bird that's on the left is a Forbidden Fiber floss combination of steel blue and sapphire, so you can kind of see. And then the other bird is a set of color and cotton floss. This is Shining Sea and Blue Suede. So that's what I had going on over here. So anyway, this is what I was kind of debating between choosing. So I think I definitely like the Forbidden Fiber combination for the blue. So my next step is going to be to rip out that bird on the right and stitch it like the bird on the left. So now another thing I noticed while I was doing this is the steel blue, which is the light blue for this Forbidden Fiber, is very similar to the blue that I had originally picked when I first started. It is a little bit darker, I guess, but they look really similar. And the reason I say that is because all of these little blue Quaker star things are in this blue bonnet color and cotton floss. And so I think I might like just keep using blue bonnet for the stars on the other side, simply because I just don't want to rip it out. And they're so similar that I don't think it would really matter. So anyway, that's how my Love Boat sampler is looking. Oh, I think it might be better if I go around this way. So anyway, and I think I might have added like this star and some flowers on this vine, but other than that, I didn't really add much to this since you saw it last. Oh, and I guess I could tell you, this fabric, I'm really bad at this sometimes, which is like, this is like the whole point of being a floss tuber, so you could tell people what fabric you're using and stuff, and I forget to do that like 90% of the time. Anyway, this is Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers 36 count linen in the color Summer Soiree, and it was a Fabric of the Month Club last year, or a few months ago, I don't know, at some point. And then the flosses are mostly color and cotton. I am using a few DMC, and then obviously the bird with the blue colors, I'm doing the Forbidden Fiber. I haven't updated, I have a Google Doc that I have linked in my description box with my color conversion for this chart, and I have not updated the blue color yet, but I will try to do that when I do my description box and everything for this video. So if you're interested in pulling, because all the color and cottons that I have are from floss clubs, so if you want to stitch this chart and you want to try to use floss clubs that you have gotten from color and cotton, then that would be a good reference for you. Alright, so the next thing that I worked on was a SAF, start and finish, and this was a project that was given to me at Stitch North. It was part of like the freebie retreat package, and I brought it with me on the plane to Idaho, and basically got most of it done, and then I finished stitching it on my work trip flight. So anyway, this is what it looks like. I think it's called Whimsy Bear, and the chart was a little freebie, and then Brijin Needle supplied the, well, hold on. The chart, Whimsy Bear, is charted by Darling Whimsy Designs. The fabric and floss that was provided was for Brijin Needle, and I cannot remember the name of this fabric, but it's an 18 count Aida. And then the floss that they gave us is this light brown variegated, here it is. It looks like this. I like twisted it all up when I was done. But yeah, and it's just an over-dyed cotton. Now, usually when I stitch with a hand-dyed floss, I will cut the floss to like my stitching length or whatever, and then pull two strands and hold them together so that the variegation lines up, and then I'll do one stitch at a time and all that stuff. But for this, I was kind of lazy and I really just wanted to make it easy on myself since I would be stitching on a plane. So I actually cut my floss to be the length that I would normally cut my DMC, because my DMC I will fold it in half and use the loop method. So I actually did the loop method, and I also just you know, stitched across one leg and stitched back like I normally would with a solid colored floss, with this being a hand-dyed floss. And honestly, like, you can clearly still tell it's variegated, and I think it looks really cool because it kind of distributes the color around more equally, so it looks more like almost like marbled or something. So anyway, I think it looks pretty cool. And the only thing I changed on this chart was I added my initials in the lower corner there. So yeah, I feel like I might turn this into a pillow or something, but obviously I don't have any immediate plans to do that. So, but yeah, it was cute, and it was nice to hold because I just stitched it in hand, so it's very convenient for the plane, it being one color and being able to stitch it in hand. And it was really cute because on one of the flights there was this lady next to me, and she like clearly looked very interested in what I was doing, but she never said anything to me, mainly because I'm a very, like, I don't want to talk to anybody, and so I just put my headphones in. But it was cute that she was probably surprised that somebody my age was stitching on a plane. I don't know. But anyway. Alright, so my next project is actually a new start, and this is a project that I'm going to be stitching with my friends in a round robin style. Let's see. So the chart that, well, first off, okay, my group of friends that are stitching this with me are Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, Brijin, the Museum Stitcher, Cam from Cam the Stitcher, Marjorie from Marjorie Made, Alexis from Alexis My Amazing World, and Maddie from Kitty Stitch. And Maddie is not on Flosstube, but she is on Instagram. So anyway, the 7 of us are doing this round robin, and we are using a chart from Hello from Liz Mathews called Quaker Gardens. It looks like this. And like I said, this is a new start, so I don't have what it looked like last time. But this is what mine looks like. I chose a 36 count linen from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, and the color is called Mermaid Mules, and this was a fabric of the month, I think, last summer. And the floss I'm using is a DMC, and I think it's like 3842 or something like that, but it's just like a dark blue. I was very inspired by Cam's Pink on Pink, and I had this blue fabric in my stash, and I really just wanted to use it, so I was like, blue on blue. But I think it looks pretty cool. And it has like, that's kind of a better representation of like the actual color of the fabric. Woo! Okay. This is a fat quarter, but I have it folded in half. That's probably why it's not sticking to this board as well. But anyway, this is a better representation of like the actual color of this fabric. It definitely is a lot lighter than it usually photographs, and there is like lots of flecks of green in here. But this fabric really is kind of hard to take a picture of because of its vibrancy. It just really looks super saturated on film. So, but yeah. I really like how this is coming along. So Brijin is the one who kind of broke it up into sections, and basically this is a round robin, but Brijin broke it up like it's a sal. So basically all 7 of us are going to be stitching the same section at the same time, but we will be stitching on another person's project. So each one of us will get to stitch every part of the pattern. And everybody's flowers will kind of be like, I guess, out of order as far as like, the first flower isn't always going to be my initials on everybody's project. It's going to be whoever's project it is, the first flower is going to be their initials, and then it will rotate out based on who we send it to. So yeah, it's going to be really fun. I think we're planning to get the first section done, which is basically this top border in the first Quaker flower, done by the end of August so that we can send it out in early September. And then the plan is to kind of stitch a flower each month. So that's the plan, and hopefully we all stick to it. But anyway, it's gonna be great. So definitely go check out all the girls on the Flosstube and Instagram and go see what colors they're using, because everybody's doing something different. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, so the next project I have is Castle Homecoming by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. this is what it currently looks like. This is a stitch along happening right now, and I think 3 parts have been released, and I have not finished part 1, but I'm not beat up about it. When the 3rd part came out last week, I did pull this out to stitch on it because she released the dragon, and the dragon was so cute. So anyway, oh, this is what mine would have looked like last time you saw it, and then this is what mine looks like now. So obviously, I kind of noticed this as I take pictures of this, but this fabric is so modeled, and then my little people are so tiny, so I feel like the design is kind of fighting with the modeling, but I'm wondering if that will look better when more of this project is released. So I'm going to kind of move this around so I can hopefully show it better. There we go. So here's what mine looks like. I got my little unicorn and my little knight. She does not have a sword or her plume on her hat yet, or her helmet or whatever. But basically when I worked on it on Friday last week, I did like more of these little pendants right here and then this flag. So, sorry. But yeah, that's what it's looking like. This fabric is 40 count, picture this plus, in the color of Valor. And it is the called for color for this chart. And then I'm using all the called for DMCs, and there's 2 classic colorworks. So, but yeah. Next up is Greenhouse of Oddities by Lola Cross Stitch. I think this Sal is almost done. I think there's like maybe 2 parts left. But this is what it is looking like so far. And then this is what it would have looked like last time I showed it to you. And then this is what mine looks like now. So I'm stitching mine on a 36 count linen by Fox and Rabbit called Oyster Shell. And, excuse me. And I'm using all the called for DMC, and I'm stitching 2/2. Will's being silly over there. But yeah, so I think since you saw it last, I basically finished up this cactus, added a butterfly, added these pitcher plants, and got started on this well. So yeah. But I really enjoy stitching on this one. I just really love 36 count, 2/2, and I love using Pattern Keeper, and that's exactly what I'm doing with this project. So, yeah. And it does have lots of color changes, but I feel like it's pretty satisfying to go in there and be like, oh, like, because in Pattern Keeper it shows you how many stitches of each color there are, and so I basically will like color complete within an area. Like obviously if there's like a freestanding stitch in the middle of nowhere that I can't count to, then I will save that for later, but yeah, it is kind of fun because it kind of makes it like a game. Up next is Positivity Lifts by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and this is also a stitch along, and I think only 2 parts have been released so far, and this is what it's gonna look like. And then I don't think I've shown this on my channel yet, so I guess this is technically a new start, even though to me it's not a new start. Maybe I did show this in my whip parade, I don't know, but this is what mine looks like. The fabric that I'm using is an 18 count Aida from Fiber on a Whim called Color Happens, and I'm using all the called for DMC that came in the kit that Caterpillar Cross Stitch gave me, and then they also gave me this needle minder. So yeah. But this is gonna say breathe, and this honestly kind of worked out well for me because Marjorie's latest Pick-a-Whip prompt was to stitch something with words, so this kind of fit that for me. I actually stitched this on the plane coming home from my work trip, and I used a Q-snap, and I definitely think that for any more stitching that I do on the plane, I definitely will make sure that it is in-hand stitching, because that is way easier to do on the plane than using a Q-snap, because you don't have a lot of room on the plane, and the Q-snap kind of clunky for the small amount of space that you have. So, but yep, that's what it's looking like. Okay, last but certainly not least is Frankenscat by Lindy Stitches. And I know I have the chart somewhere, but I don't know where it is because I have a paper chart. So I'll just put up a picture of what it's supposed to look like. But anyway, I showed this this is actually the first time I've worked on this piece since I started it last year. So you would have seen it in my whip parade, but I got some good progress in on it. So this is what it looked like last time you saw it, and this is what it looks like now. So I got a lot of his jacket done, and then I started like kind of outlining. There's like a dark, his skin is green, and so there's like a little darker green that outlines around the jacket, and so I started on that last night. Oh my goodness, I need to practice with this design board, honestly. So yeah, this fabric is 32 count Fiber on a Whim linen in the color lipstick. And I will note that this is an older dye of lipstick. If you get lipstick now, it will be more red. But this ended up being perfect for this project because called for is like a color in cotton fabric called Papaya Lope, which is a corally color. And so this worked out perfect for me. But yeah, I'm just using all the called for DMC and stitching 2/2. So this kind of leads into my plans, which is going to be the next section, but this was on my Whip Go board as a finish, and so I changed it to be 5 days, and so I just need 2 more days of stitching on this so that I can meet my Whip Go goal. But yeah. So with that being said, I feel like we can move into plans because I do have some more thoughts about Whip Go that I want to share with you all. So yeah, give me just a moment. Okay, so as far as Whip Go goes, I have kind of tweaked my board a little bit. I definitely fell off doing all of the little prompts and stuff because, I don't know, I've just been busy, haven't been into it, yada yada, doesn't matter. But basically, there was a project on there that I had on my board like 4 times. And when I pulled it out to work on it, I just really wasn't into it anymore. And so I have decided to UFO that project for the time being. I'm not gonna try to like get rid of it or like give it away or whatever. Just on the off chance that I do decide I want to come back to it, but I didn't want it on my Whip Go board anymore. So I took it off and that freed up 4 spaces, so I had to come up with some new prompts. And because I'm so behind, I also reevaluated kind of what I had made my goals. A lot of my goals on my board were time-based, like X number of hours, and so I basically changed all of those because I'm not tracking how long I take to stitch anymore. So like for Sweetheart Campfire, I had a few more goals that were to stitch on it for 8 hours. I changed that to get 1,000 stitches because I can track that pretty easy because Pattern Keeper shows you. And then same thing, I think my Fox by Quaker Gardens Samplings was on there to stitch for 5 hours. I just changed it to 5 days. And to me, a day is just, I pulled it out and I got at least 1 length of floss in. So now Frankenscat is on my board 2 times to stitch for 5 days. So technically both are called right now, but I'm just working on the 1 goal, and I'll probably pull it out again for like Halloween and get the other 5 days in. But yeah, and then I also made some other easy ones, like for Love Boat Sampler, I did 2 blocks and each goal was to stitch 500 stitches. Well, I started that project this year, so I went ahead and marked one of those complete. And then the other goal that I filled the space for was, I just put start Quaker Gardens. So I think that's going to make me feel a little more motivated to work on my Whip Go board now that I've made some of the goals a little more attainable. But I also was kind of thinking about tweaking, like, I don't know if I'm going to do Whip Go next year, but if I do, they're going to be prompt based simply because I definitely like having the freedom to pick which projects I'm going to work on because, I don't know, sometimes you get a project drawn and you really just don't want to stitch on that, but you don't want to necessarily, it's not that you don't like the project, you're just not in the mood, you know? So anyway, that's kind of how my whip go sits right now. I definitely, when I get more of the goals completed, because right now I think I have like 6 open goals on my whip go board, I will kind of maybe post a photo update of my whip go board to show kind of the status where I'm at. But yeah, so that's for whip go. And then I do have 2 planned new starts. One of them I already talked to you about last week, or last video, which is Christmas Wreath by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I really wanted to do Christmas in July this month, but July has been so busy that I just haven't gotten around to it. So I need to start it this weekend if I want it to be a Christmas in July start. But if it happens, it happens. If not, then I will just start it next month. And then the second project that I want to start is Introverted by Silver Creek Samplers. I'll just throw a picture up of what that's supposed to look like. Brijin from the Museum Stitcher just started this a couple weeks ago, and I've been meaning to stitch that because when I saw it, it was released earlier this year. I knew that was made for me. So anyway, I was playing around with a little bit of a color conversion this morning because I definitely want to make it more bright and colorful. So yeah, I think I might try to at least pull together the rest of the floss and the fabric today and maybe start it tomorrow or something. But yeah, those are kind of my 2 like on the horizon new starts that I have planned. And that's kind of it as far as what I wanted to talk to you about today. So yeah, I don't have anything else, so I guess I'll just let you go and not ramble. But I hope you've all had a great few weeks, and hope you're getting lots of stitches in and all that good stuff. So anyway, let me know how you're doing in the comments below. Let me know what you stitched on while you watched today's update, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.